everybody? Welcome to another episode of Fish and Friends with Danny and Gina or whatever. I don't know. Everything's weird nowadays. I'm late. That's me. Yep. Ended up kind of taking a little bit of a nap on the couch there. Had to work today and a little tired, Well. Yeah, I know. I'm late. That's my bad. But hey, I decided to still live stream anyway. It's going to be a short one, but I mean, you got me anyway. So, hey, what's up? So, yeah, had my first week at Petco today. Wasn't too bad. I mean, like, a job's a job. It's not like it's like, oh, this is great. Everything's awesome. Like, it's still work, but it seems like it's going to be a place that is going to work for me. Brian's pretty good. Got some good coworkers, employees. Don't really know quite how to word that yet. In fact, some of the people I kind of know already, just a few of them from shopping, but one lady, Denise, is she's been with Petco for like 10 years, and she knows me, and apparently she used to watch the show when, Gina and I were doing it a little bit more regularly and stuff, and all that, so that's pretty cool. She, hadn't seen me with the short hair yet, so that was interesting. But yeah. So how you doing, Scoop Steve? We got PNW Aqua in here too. Maybe. I don't know. He said that comment kind of early. And, a lot of people probably saw that I was supposed to stream at 8, saw that I wasn't streaming, and it had been probably an hour, and they probably gave up on me. Started watching something else. I don't blame them. So, yeah. Training's going well. I got like all my computer learning done. And man, I hate sitting there behind a computer, like watching videos and reading stuff like all day. I mean, I didn't have to do it like all day on any of my days, luckily, which I'm glad he didn't do that. So far in general. Oh my god. Oh, I'm yawning so much. Sorry. Training so far it's going well. And my schedule is interesting. Caleb Shirley. What's up, Caleb? I like that avatar symbol, thumbnail, whatever thing you got for your profile YouTube channel with your little chameleon on top of your name. That's pretty cool. Yeah, it's kind of fun working in a pet store again, honestly. Made it with Canva. Okay, that's fun. Yeah, working for a pet store, it's been kind of fun. Some of the things with my new job have been kind of going back and falling into some old habits. They have some things that are very, very similar to how we used to do it at Pet Supplies Plus when I worked there. So, so there's a lot of things that it's just like kind of remembering the old way to do it and just kind of going back and doing that. Some things are completely different, but as I'm saying that, like, I can't really, think of anything that is like completely different. But I mean, well, anyway, first week, some weird things happened, of course. Nothing was completely normal. So, yeah, I had to be at work super early at 6 a.m. on Sunday last week, earlier this week. And I know I was complaining about that last week on live stream. And, I got to work and I was pretty tired, but in general, though I wouldn't really call myself a morning person. I don't know. Like I was fine. I was able to deal with it. I've dealt with much more sleep deprivation before to where I was fine. I didn't want to wake up early, but I was fine. And so yeah, Sunday, the reason we had to wake up so early is because Sunday is the day that they deep clean all the animals and do that. So they take everything out of their main containers and like clean all the bedding out, scrub everything down, disinfect everything, add all new bedding, all new food, water, decoration stuff. If we have to, I think most of the time they actually just replace everything if they haven't replaced it already, and then put all the animals back. And so the disinfectant, after you take all the animals out and take everything out and throw everything away and get everything clear, you spray everything with the disinfectant, and then it has to sit with the disinfectant on it for like 10 minutes before you go and like wipe it all down anyway. So it does like take time to do that. And so I'm really glad that he schedules like 4 hours before the store opens to get all that stuff done. And apparently, like, even within the 4 hours, a lot of the times they don't get necessarily all the way through. But they should be, close or trying to get all the way through that. And hopefully, once I get in my groove, well, I might not necessarily have to deal with that in the long term myself, being that I'm the merchandising manager, not the animal care lead. So it's good that I know how to do all that stuff, but as far as having to do it every single Sunday morning, that's probably, I won't probably have to deal with that. I'll just have to know how to open and close animals the main way, which I pretty much already know how to do. What's up, Long Family Show? Cheers. Good to see ya. It's kind of a slow night because I'm an hour late, and it's whatever. But it's good to see some faces. I say see some faces. It's good to see some names that I haven't seen in a while, like Caleb and the Long Family Show. So, thank you guys for joining. So yeah, Sunday was all that stuff with the animals, and then doing just lots of general training, kind of familiarizing myself with the store, going through some of the additional paperwork and everything, and just finalizing everything as far as with my employment and making sure I was getting paid, all that stuff, whatever, taxes, fun stuff. And then the next day I had to work was Monday. Instead of 6 a.m. on Monday, I had to be there at 8 a.m. because it was just a general opening for the store. So I had to learn how, to do a normal day opening, and did some more computer training that day. And then at some point on Monday, like right in the middle of the day, kind of, I want to say around like, I don't know, noon to 1 o'clock or so, my boss, Brian, was going to go get some lunch. And he's just like, you think you'll be okay, like watching the store for like 5 to 10 minutes as I run down to Panera and, grab some food. And it's like, yeah, it should be fine. And, I'm thinking to myself, which, I probably jinxed myself or whatever, but I was thinking to myself, I was like, great, Brian's going to leave for 5 minutes and all hell's going to break loose as soon as he leaves. And though all hell didn't break loose, like pretty much like right as soon as Brian leaves, I hear a call like, leader to grooming. And I'm like, wait, do I have a grooming manager here or are they calling me? I'm like, crap, I think they're calling me. Crap, what do I do? So, it's like, I mean, I'm comfortable. Like I've been a manager before. It's not like I don't know what I'm, doing as far as, dealing with some different things, but it's like, it's my second day. I don't know what, I haven't like talked to Brian about like, what I need to do as far as like granting refunds. As he is strict as my old boss was on like, trying to avoid refunds as much as possible, or like, is he more like, pretty much, think of the customer first, like more like I'm thinking of naturally, just like kind of go for refund, whatever else, I don't know what I'm like allowed to do at this point, really. And all of a sudden I get this call to go into grooming, and this lady is complaining that, her dog didn't get cut right and is still wet and just, is complaining and all that stuff. And so it's just like, in my mind, I'm thinking like, yeah, the haircut looks kind of bad. It's definitely not what the lady asked for. And at this point, the hair it's too short to where there's not really anything they can do as far as fixing it. So, it's like, get the lady a refund. But I'm not sure if I'm like even allowed to do that at this point. So I'm just kind of listening to what the lady's saying. And I just, kind of tell her, it's just like, I mean, it's like, ma'am, obviously you can see, like, I don't even have my uniform yet. This is my second day. So I'm not even 100% sure what I'm allowed to do yet. So my boss is literally like, he's going to be back in like a minute, like 30 seconds or a minute, because he was just running to get food from Panera really quick and come right back. We're going to take care of you, because she was starting to like get all worked up and stuff, because she's starting to get to that point where I can tell like she's feeling like these people don't really care. They're not going to do anything to help me. I completely screwed up, and now my dog like looks like shit, and I'm going to have to deal with my dog that looks like shit for at least a couple weeks until the hair starts to like, fully grow back and all that. And it's going to grow back looking like shit too. So, like, I understand where she's coming from and she's frustrated, but it's like, I also have not even been taught how to do a refund on the register yet or anything like that. So I'm just like, I'm sorry, ma'am. Like, we're going to take care of you. Just give us a moment for my boss to get here because, like I said, it's my second day and I'm just not even sure what I'm even allowed to do yet. So, it's kind of one of those things like, I'm the new manager and, I don't want to necessarily look bad in front of my subordinates, because I know what it's like when the new guy comes in. And especially, the people that have, been there for a while, maybe one in my position sort of thing, and they're like, who's this outsider that's never worked at Petco coming in and they're going to, be my boss? Like, I know what that's like. So, I don't, I want people to have confidence in me and just the same way I want to have confidence in knowing that they know how to do their jobs and stuff like that. So, there's that. So it ended up working out. Lady got a refund and all that. So, it was fine. And then I ended up having Tuesday and Wednesday off, which was nice. So after 2 days of waking up early, I got to have, 2 days off. So I got some good rest in the middle of the week. And that, then Thursday came around. Thursday, I had to be there at 6 a.m. again. And this time, I was early because we're going to have the truck come. So, 6 a.m. again, scheduled 3 hours before the store opens. So that we got like the first 2 hours to like unload the truck and get as much like out on the floor as possible. And then like, that last hour is like, going through and, making sure the registers are open, making sure the animals are open and getting the store ready to go for when people came in. Well, truck ended up being delayed, or a normal truck driver or whatever was out for some reason. The truck was just delayed in general. And so, there's that. So we have the truck driver ends up coming really late. Brian's showing me how to work in the back and all that stuff and work the alarm, work the dolly door, dock door, and all that different stuff. And, all of a sudden, like, we hear that, like, the little, like, the doorbell for the back, like, oh, truck driver's here. And it's like, bing, 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 like, one of those things, like, you guys like are taking forever to get back here and wanting to make sure that we can hear. And, we're at the front of the store and we hear that. So we go all the way to the back and, we open the door to look and, like, he's not backed in or anything like that at all. Like, he's just kind of sitting there and there's not even anybody in the truck. And we're like, well, where the hell is he? And we turn around and all of a sudden, like, he's walking up from like the front of the store. So it's like he didn't give us like any time to like get to the door at all. And he's like, "Oh, I didn't know if you guys are coming." And I was like, "Yeah, sorry, it takes us a little bit. We were at the front of the store when you rang the bell, so it took us a moment to get all the way back here from there. And by the time we got back there, he was at the front of the store. So just he wasted like no time whatsoever. And yeah, so he walked all the way up from the front of the store and met us back there, and then ended up going outside and like took forever to move the truck and the trailer around to get it into the right spot. And so it's just like, gosh, he's ringing that bell like we're taking forever, and then we get back there and he's not even ready yet, and made us had to sit there and wait as he went forward and backward and forward and backward and forward and backward, because he's just not used to our lot. He's not our normal truck driver or anything like that. So, and then, you know, our normal truck driver also apparently would very quickly just unload the truck and move the pallets exactly where we needed them to go, because he just kind of knew the method of the madness. And this guy didn't, and just kept wanting to like talk about stuff and ask questions about animals and, you know, the stuff that was for sale, and talking about, I got this issue with my dog and whatever else. And, you know, so the process with the truck of getting unloaded took almost an hour in itself, when it shouldn't have. So we only had like 9 pallets to unload. So there's that. So we didn't get as much of the truck worked on in the morning as we were hoping on. So we had to work on the truck, you know, more throughout the day, and then Friday and Saturday as well. Or today. I think we got all the truck worked through today, but we were hoping to get it done before today, because we got the vet clinic that comes in on Saturdays, and they use our dog training area. And because of some different things, we kind of had to put a lot of the truck in the dog training area. And so we had to make sure that that was all cleared out so that they could use it for the vet clinic. And so, yeah, there was some ridiculousness that happened this week already, but, you know, it is what it is. You got to be ready for all those different things. But, you know, aside from all that, you know, I closed Friday night and I opened again today, so I know how to close. I know how to open. I think I'm going to run my first shift like on my own without Brian Saturday next week, maybe. I think Saturday is what he said. So I think I'm already pretty much ready to do that. So basically, I know most of what I need to know as far as being a basic Petco employee now. Now I need to learn some of the more specialized stuff for my specific area of the store, as far as, you know, price changes, printing tags, looking at planograms and setting planograms and stuff like that. And that side of the job, I'm already comfortable with all the animal care, dealing with the customers, you know, stuff like that. So that's good. It's been a lot of fun too. Like I was saying kind of earlier, how it's been kind of fun working at a pet store again, because I get to deal with a lot of cool animals that I don't necessarily have at the house. Get to look at all the turtles and the chameleons and like play with the baby bearded dragons and stuff like that. And so that's just a lot of fun. And, dealing with parents and like animal people are my people. Like, still, it's fun to work with them. There was a couple that came in yesterday and they were, the lady had some questions about different reptiles and things and bearded dragons, and so the conversation started how she wanted to convert her fish tank into a terrarium for a bearded dragon. So the conversation started off me trying to figure out, like, what size tank does she have? And she said like a 30-gallon. And I'm just like, things like, well, 30-gallon isn't like a normal fish tank size or whatever. So does this lady actually have a rare, well, I'd say rare, but like an oddly shaped like 30-gallon tank? Or is she talking about like a 29-gallon fish tank or whatever? So I'm asking her several different questions, trying to get a general size. And after several different things, I eventually just walk over and grab a 29-gallon fish tank because they were saying they had even bought it from like PetSmart or something. So I was like, you probably got a 29-gallon then, because a 30-gallon is, some of those tanks are a little bit more rare, and this is just kind of like the general size of tanks that come in most of the time. So unless you have a 20-something-year-old fish tank, or you bought it at a garage sale or something, you most likely have something within the regular sizes of the tank. So I showed her a 29. I'm like, yep, that's it. That's how big it is. And they even showed me a picture of like their daughter in front of it, window set up as a fish tank. I was like, yep, that's 29-gallon. So then I started to like really be able to, tell them what they needed as far as like different heights of, levels to climb up on so that he can get closer and farther away from the light. What strength of light bulb they needed as far as heat and all that goes for their tank, because the depth of the tank, kind of depends on what sort of heat lamp you need and basking lamp. And I told them, like, you can use sand, you can use rocks, you can use, different sorts of things. There's lots of different ways you can do this, but the big thing is, I would advise that you guys get everything you need and get that tank set up first, and then come back another day and, get the bearded dragon. So the lady was just like super excited to do it. So they ended up getting all the supplies and stuff that they needed that night, and they went home and pretty much set up the tank right away and just got everything they needed. And they're like, we're going to come back tomorrow and we're going to ask for you. I'm like, okay, sounds great. And yeah, sure enough, at, I don't know, 10:30, 11 o'clock this morning or whatever, I'm in the back and I'm finishing up my computer training and stuff. And all of a sudden I hear a call, like, Danny to the office up on the PA. So I get up there and, Brian's like, it's like, ask Jai or something. But there was a couple that was out there like asking for you. I think it was the people you were helping yesterday and stuff. I'm like, oh, all right, cool. So yeah, sure enough, they asked for me by name. They were right there at the Bearded Dragons ready to go, and they already had them picked out. And they were going to just get one. I was even telling them, it's like, you know, if you guys wait until, Black Friday, the bearded dragons will be 50% off. But they didn't want to wait. They just wanted to get it then. And they actually wanted to get two. And so I told them, it's just like, you guys can't keep two bearded dragons in the same terrarium like long term, because as they get bigger, they get, territorial, and they'll fight each other and stuff like that. And so, you don't want that. You don't want that. And they're like, well, actually, one's going to me and one is going to another terrarium, and is going to end up going to my mom's because she wants one too, or something like that. Or maybe not mom, sister. I don't know. Either way, they understood, and I told them, it's like, you can't put two in the same thing long term, and they were aware of it. And I also told them, like, on Friday too, it's like, look up some YouTube videos, do some research online, make sure, you see the different stuff that's involved with, caring for one of these long term. Because I know some of the basics as far as getting you set up, but I can't explain everything that's going to happen over the lifetime of this lizard. But there's a lot of great information out there if you are willing to find it. So they seemed like they were really ready to go, and they were super excited. So I sure enough got them set up with two bearded dragons. And so that was fun. What's up, Danican Aquatics? Good to see you, Kenny E. What up, fish people? Not a lot of people here tonight. And I'm only going to stream for probably like 20 minutes longer because I'm kind of tired. I didn't mean to start streaming late. I was going to start at 8, but I ended up kind of falling asleep on the couch. And when I woke up from a half stupor or half sleep or whatever, I was immediately like, oh crap, did I have to go to sleep because I have work in the morning kind of mentality. And then it's like, oh crap, it's an hour late for my live stream. Which I wasn't even sure if I was going to have the live stream this week or not, because of I wasn't sure kind of what my schedule was going to be like. Wasn't sure if I was going to have Saturday night available or not to stream. And sure enough, I do. And I'm off tomorrow, so I get to do some online gaming with my friends. I didn't get to do that last week. I missed out on Saturday gaming because I had some other stuff going on, and then I missed out on Sunday gaming because, well, I didn't even know until too late that I had to work that day. So there's that. Yeah, I've already helped a lot of people out with fish and stuff too. It's kind of fun talking fish and getting people set up with all that again. Trying hard not to constantly grill all the fish people as well. Get a feel for, who kind of knows what they're doing and who doesn't. And, also being willing to let people make the mistakes on their own, I guess, Because, yeah, I sold a couple goldfish to people that had a 20-gallon tank. I was like, these guys, they do get big and all that. But, I tried to I was talking to them about maybe steering them to one of the fancy goldfish that, would maybe be more comfortable in there kind of long term because they don't necessarily get as long and they're not like fast swimming. But then I was also like, but they are also a little bit more expensive. I mean, you can't really go wrong with a 30-cent fish, So there's that. But I've had some people already asking for my help by name, which is pretty cool. It's kind of fun to go back and be that animal expert again. I'd say expert. I'm definitely not an expert. But when it comes to what people are used to talking to when they go to pet stores, they're not used to getting what they get out of me, I guess. So there's that. One lady, it kind of confused me because she just used certain wording that I'm used to hearing in a different context. Because I was kind of talking to her about some of the different animals versus like, bearded dragon versus leopard gecko and even like guinea pigs and stuff like that. She's like, questions started out like, what's better, like a leopard gecko or a bearded dragon? And I'm like, it just kind of depends on you. I think bearded dragons are a little bit more personable. So if you're wanting that pet lizard that's gonna, sit on your chest while you watch TV, like that's a bearded dragon. If you're wanting a lizard that, is gonna be more of like something you keep in your terrarium and stuff like that, you're looking at more of like a leopard gecko because they're just not quite as personable as like a bearded dragon is. And after talking about the lizards for a while, she was like, do you have any other suggestions for, a pet that would go in like the same sort of size container, be like the same sort of cost? And I kind of started talking to her about the guinea pigs a little bit. And so then she's just like, well, which would you rather have? Would you rather have a bearded dragon or a guinea pig? And I said, personally, like me, myself? And she's like, yeah. So I'm like, oh, I think at this point in my life right now, I would probably go for a bearded dragon. And so I told her it's like bearded dragons are going to be 50% off on Black Friday. It looks like a lot of the different starter kits as far as like, tank and stuff like that. A lot of those are all on sale and stuff again. So that's pretty cool. So I showed her all that, and she's probably going to come back on Black Friday and buy all that stuff for her daughter and herself. And all that's pretty cool. But then, yeah, also had somebody today try to pull a fast one and use my name and say like she talked to me about stuff when it's just like, I didn't talk to that lady at all. I didn't talk to a single person about dead fish, returning fish, anything like that. So I don't know what she's talking about. But it's one of those ladies that they know the policy, but they try to act like they don't and keep saying like, it's their first time, I didn't know. But we have a Petco's policy, or at least it may not be Petco's policy, but at least the policy of the store right now is that, if you will replace your fish, for like 24, 48 hours, but you have to not just bring the fish body back, you also have to bring a separate, like, clean water sample so that we can test the water. Because we got so many people that just like, take advantage of the system and, all that different stuff. And, when it really comes down, like we used to, well, I say we, like I'm already like part of the dang thing, but the like they didn't really used to have so much of a strict policy. It used to be kind of more like what we did at Pet Supplies Plus, but they had so many people just like screwing with them and stuff to where they had to implement like water tests like every time. In the Pet Supplies Plus, like we would kind of give people the benefit of the doubt. You know, sometimes fish die in transit, stuff like that. Sometimes they come in sick. It is what it is. So we would never want to put blame on the customer if their fish died right away. So we would replace it. But if they would start kind of coming back and coming back and coming back, then it's just like, okay, like we need to test your water. What's going on with your tank? Like, figure out why these fish are dying, because it's not an us issue. It seems like it's a you issue. And like I said, sometimes people try to get their way, try to get around the policy to, get free stuff. And I just remembered, back at Pet Supplies Plus, there's this one time that this like family of people, like male an older couple and then like their adult son or whatever would come in, and they were picking out some cichlids because they had an African cichlid tank and stuff like that. So talking to them about that, and I was big on African cichlids at the time, and so it was cool to talk to people. But then after picking out some, they came back the next day. Both of the cichlids that they bought had been killed or died or whatever. So we replaced both of them. And then they came back the next day and brought like both of those cichlids back. And I think they might have even brought a third cichlid that they didn't even like buy from us back, and like tried to like have that one replaced too. And it's just like, well, I can go ahead and replace the two that I know you bought from us, because I was the one that dealt with you yesterday, and do that. But we can't replace any more cichlids after this. Just because that's how African cichlids are. Like, you introducing new ones to an established tank is a hit or a miss anyway sometimes. So like, it's not on us if these fish keep dying, especially now that you're trying to trick us and replace fish that have already been in your tank. So we don't do that. We replace the fish that have that are we're technically like liable for or whatever, but we're not liable for your fish that have already been in your tank for 6 months or a year or whatever. So, but a lot of those people too, like, yeah, we want to test their water and stuff too. But yeah, one of the people that I was working with, and it's just like, I'm glad you're not going crazy and asking me all these different questions about how big is your tank, what other fish are in there, whatever else, thing like that. I was like, yeah, like I kind of get a feel for people, and if somebody's brand new and they just have never kept fish before or whatever, anything like that, then yeah, I'm gonna ask more questions and things like that. But I can tell, like, you knew the name of the fish, you kind of picked out some different ones and whatever else. Like, you seem to know what you're doing already, so I got no reason to grill you. So there's that. Yeah. Yeah, I got most of my training done already before Black Friday, which is something I was really hoping to do because I was wanting to actually be a decent help this week, this coming week, versus like trying to do my training like right in the middle of busy holiday weekend and all that stuff. Like, that's just not smart. So part of me was like, man, I really don't want to start working like right on my birthday, but you know, it's just how it worked out. Plus, I mean, it's just my birthday. It's just a day. I don't really care. But yeah, my birthday was on Monday, this past Monday. So happy belated birthday to myself. Um, I kind of said happy early birthday to myself last week, but where's Gina tonight? No idea. No idea. Scheduling's all weird. Different things going on, whatever. And I sent Gina the link last night when I set up the live stream and, just said, if you're available. But I don't know if she was available tonight or not. She never said anything. And then who knows? Maybe she showed up at 8 o'clock, saw that I wasn't there, and decided that, maybe she didn't want to live stream tonight and just never said anything. Because when I woke up from my nap late, I didn't have a message from her either. So I don't know where she's at tonight. Maybe she had to close down the store out there in Fenton. I don't know. It's not a big deal. Um, yeah, I don't really know where she is. And it's okay. Uh-oh. Sorry, guys. I got a message here, and I'm just replying to it real quick because it's on my mind. So my friends, I mentioned them. I've talked about them before. I do game nights at their house and stuff every now and then. Really awesome people. They used to have a really awesome like German Shepherd, and Logan was a really awesome dog, but they had to put Logan down. Uh, 6 months ago. I don't know, something like that. And so they recently, decided that they were gonna officially get another dog, and they found another German Shepherd named Nix, and they were going to adopt her. In fact, they did adopt her. Super cute German Shepherd, but apparently, when they brought Nix home and all that stuff, at some point she attacked one of her cats, and so the cat ran and hid. They haven't been able to find their cat since the attack, so they don't even know if the cat's all right, 100%. Um, the previous owner was obviously more than understanding of the issue and is coming back to get the dog. But it's like, my friends, like, I feel like I let everyone down. Alan's devastated. I'm just like, it's like, so I just had to reply right away, because I didn't want to forget about it and then just end up not replying. But I know, like, introducing animals can be difficult. Cats and dogs aren't, like, just naturally best friends. In fact, when it really comes down to it, most of the time, cats and dogs are just naturally, they just don't get along. It takes a certain type of dog and a certain type of cat for them to just be able to get along, because dogs are high energy, cats are generally not. They do have different periods of the day where they are, but they're generally not. And they got a whole different way of playing with each other and whatever else, to where, like, yeah, like cats and dogs, whether the dog actually attacked the cat or was just like playing with the cat and played too rough or whatever, like, they play and interact so differently. So you got a whole process of, like, introducing them to the house and, like, going through test runs and even seeing how it works before you can just, like, bring them right into the house. And so, yeah, that's why I never ended up, like, getting a second parakeet. Which now, I mentioned it last week. But yeah, Lapis, my female parakeet, has now passed on. So I don't have any parakeets anymore. Just got my 2 cockatiels, Casper and Willow. They're still doing great. But yeah, I just think, like, when it came to Lapis, like, I feel like long term she probably would have been better off having a partner, but I don't have the time, money, and resources to be able to try going through different parakeets and try adopting them and going through all that different stuff of trying to introduce 2 parakeets. And Lapis had some different issues as far as like being able to support herself with her legs and things like that, and maneuver around her cage, to where I would have thought, I feel like a fully able-bodied parakeet might actually end up being a bad thing and might have potentially killed her faster or something else. They might have fought, whatever else. I don't know, but I foresaw too many potentially bad things happening to outweigh the good of all the effort of having to go through that. Because I could have been lucky and it could have been easy, but the likeliness of that was actually fairly low. Introducing animals to each other is difficult. Introducing some animals is more difficult than introducing others. And, when you're putting something, I mean, whether you're talking fish or birds or whatever, when you're talking to something where their normal environment is, like, the entire outdoors, and then you're putting them into something that's much smaller than that. Like, you're reducing their territory size, something much smaller. And so they're much more protective of that. Birds are super protective of their cage. And like my cockatiels, they've been together for years now. Over a year with me, and then at least a year, maybe 2 years with their previous owners. So, it's been 3 years or whatever that they've been together, and they get along for the most part, but sometimes they still fight. Just like anybody that's had multiple cats, you know that happens sometimes too. Most of the time they get along, but every so often, you gotta be like, you gotta break up the cat fight or whatever. It doesn't ever necessarily get to the point where people are throwing claws at each other, but somebody aggravated somebody. And if you grew up with siblings, like, you know how that is. Like, somebody aggravated somebody. Married couples, whatever, sometimes, sometimes you fight, and when you're stuck in a cage together and you can't get away from each other, sometimes those fights can get worse than, just a light dispute, So, though I don't like to think of us having pets as like putting them in jail, I don't like to use that sort of phrasing because, I care for my animals very, very much. I don't want to think of it as that, but it's kind of like that, People in jail do things that people outside of jail wouldn't do. And, animals in a cage are going to do things that animals outside of the cage wouldn't necessarily do. That's when you clean some tanks. Yeah, exactly. Move some stuff around. Take one of them out of the cage for a while, or just let them both out of the cage and to kind of fly around. There's ways to get around it and break up the fight. But yeah, like I said, I had to actually separate my cockatiels for a while and put them in 2 different cages because during the height of like mating season, they were like trying to mount each other and fighting over it. And I was actually seeing like blood stains around their face where they're like pulling feathers out of each other. Gosh. But they're fine now. But it's one of those things like, maybe if they were willing to do the work and they had the time and all that, maybe keeping this dog would be fine. But it's just a matter of, can they take that chance? Can they, and, when it comes to a pet that you already have, this cat, and there's a whole story behind the cat that got injured too. So, yeah, I'm not surprised that they're going to try to maybe find another dog. It sucks that this one didn't work out for him. And that's why I'm super hesitant to get a dog myself too. Because I got my cat. I've had my cat for 10 years. I'm not getting rid of her. She's staying. And if you come into my house and you hurt her, well, you're not staying. So there's that. So at some point, I'll get a dog. Luckily, I got this awesome company out there called Woof for Vets that's going to help me find the right dog for me. And they have all this paperwork, and they cover all the adoption fees and different things like that. So I'm really excited to start working with them down the road. But, you know, I was hoping to find one with working with Schwann's, but pretty much as soon as I got the paperwork, they announced that we were going to be going out of business. And so it's just like, well, let me go find my new job and kind of get my new schedule and all that set. And then I'll, fill this out and get myself a dog. I would love to have a pet dog. Maybe I don't need one over the winter. I'll wait until like springtime and I'll get a dog in spring. That'll be fun. I hope to find one that's a couple years old already, semi-trained, has a good calm temper. I don't really care what size of dog. Shih Tzu would be fun. They're cute. I don't want a Yorkie. But then I'd also like to have a bigger dog. I don't know. I don't know. That's more for down the road. Well, I'm tired. I already fell asleep on the couch once. I'm gonna go fall asleep on the couch again. I'm probably gonna go to bed here soon. I'm pretty tired actually. Um, but I set up the live stream. I didn't want to cancel it, so I think a German Shepherd would be great for me. I do too. I would love to have a German Shepherd. My big thing about having a German Shepherd, though, is one, actual purebred dogs bring purebred issues. I would much rather have a mutt in those cases just because having mixed genetics gives you stronger genetics. Stronger things against disease and stuff like that. So there's that. But then also, German Shepherds have a lot of hair. I don't know if I want all that shedding all the time. And then also, German Shepherds are pretty large dogs. Just having that tail just whacking around at that, waist height. You get hit in the balls by the tail. It's also just right at that height to knock everything off tables, all that stuff too. So it's like, you got a lot of different things to kind of weigh out. There's benefits to having a smaller dog versus a bigger dog. There's also lots of benefits to having a bigger dog versus a smaller dog, as far as, protection versus just companionship and whatever else. So there's lots of things to go through. I'd love to have a German Shepherd. Ever since I was a kid, I've always wanted a German Shepherd. You have a German Shepherd Doberman? Now, see, that'd be a cool dog. There was the dog that I wanted, which it came around into my life before I was ready to get a dog, which is unfortunate. But there's the German Shepherd Husky mix. That was just absolutely gorgeous. And surprisingly, was very quiet, very calm, and was just a perfect sweetheart. And she probably would have been the perfect dog for me to take home. But I wasn't ready at the time. And, it was my Schwann's customers that had this dog, and I've talked about it before. And would have been great. But if I could, if I could design a dog, and have the ideal perfect dog that I would love to have, as far as looks and everything go and all that, I would love to have a solid black German Shepherd named Van Helsing. Or I would love to have a solid white German Shepherd and name him or her Ghost. And I had that name already set up long before Game of Thrones was a thing. So, no, it has nothing to do with the White Wolf of Jon Snow that he called Ghost. Which I think I got those details right. I only watched a little bit of Game of Thrones. It's hard for me to get into a show where everybody just dies. So I thought it was okay. I kind of watched a little bit of it as I was dating a girl that was into the show. But yeah, so me choosing a white German Shepherd named Ghost has nothing to do with Game of Thrones. It actually goes back to one of my favorite movies when I was a kid called White Wolf, which I don't remember all the details about that movie, but if I remember right, it was kind of like teenagers or young adults kind of go out on a camping trip sort of thing and end up getting kind of lost out there in the woods and have to kind of try to find their way back into civilization and all that stuff and get help and whatever else. And, there's this white wolf that they kind of end up seeing multiple times in their journey that kind of is their spirit guide that guides them out of the woods and all that stuff. And so it's kind of a fun movie. Gets into some Native American mythologies and some different stuff and whatever else. So check it out if you haven't already. I think it's a book as well, but that's an old 80s Hallmark film, I think. David. What? No, that's not it. The White Wolf? No, that's a werewolf. Full cat. That's 2010 film. It's definitely not that. What is it called? White Wolves? Oh. Maybe it was multiple. Yeah. White Wolves. Cry in the Wild. 1993. Yeah. Okay. Have a great night, Dave. Well, you have a great night too, Kenny E. I'm gonna go ahead and shut this live stream down. Yeah, Huskies have high energy. Yeah, that's crazy, you know. Yeah. I can talk about a whole bunch of other stuff too. And of course, once I shut this live stream down, I'm just gonna have a whole bunch of other stuff I want to talk about. But anyway, it's been I forgot to turn the banner on this whole time, huh? Anyway, it's been fun chilling with you guys. I hope you have a great rest of your weekend and a great week ahead of you. So I'm going to do this right this time and not screw it up. So yeah, have a good one. And I think I close next Saturday, so I won't have a stream on Saturday. You might see me stream on another day if I feel like it or whatever else. Like I said, everything's going to kind of be up in the air right now until I get kind of more of a set schedule again here with Petco. So yeah, just keep looking out if you want to catch the live streams. And who knows, as I have, time and different things like that, working at a pet store, might give me motivation again to start making some more videos, and I'll actually have the time to do it too. So might have more content coming out sometime soon as well. Anyway, guys have a great one. And yeah, so long. Thanks for the fish.